morning. Today I'm going to be telling you about what it's like living with dreadlocks. I was having a think about what I wanted to talk about today, and I was scratching an itch in my hair and really trying to get in underneath one of the dreads. And I thought, what better to talk about than some of the annoying things that people with dreadlocks have. Disclaimer, first of all, I love my dreadlocks and I wouldn't get rid of them at the moment at all. I just absolutely love them. I was just thinking about how I haven't done any maintenance recently, so that's something that's on the cards ASAP. Now, first thing I want to do is clear up a common misconception about having dreadlocks, and that is that you cannot do, if you want to get rid of them, the only thing you can do is chop them off, like completely shave your head, but that's not true. If you have the time and if you can be bothered and have a few nice friends, you could get a few bottles of conditioner for your hair, the stuff that makes it really slippery, and a few sturdy hairbrushes, and you could brush it out. But you would be left with thinner hair and probably wouldn't be all that healthy, so you'd need to get it cut and treated a bit. But otherwise, nonetheless, you can do it. Now, the main thing that not much is said about is the fact that dreadlocks hold a lot of water. They're very, very difficult to clean. Well, not necessarily clean per se, but to dry and keep clean. So there's a lot of moisture that gets held in dreadlocks, and it's very difficult to get rid of. It can cause mildew, can cause them to go stinky, and is often the people that don't take much care of their dreadlocks are the ones that give it a very bad name. Now, obviously mine are looking terrible at the moment because I've got so much fluff coming out of them. All of these parts have fallen out of the dreads, and they're just wispy and floating around. So I'm going to book in soon, like I said, to get them maintained by this wonderful lady that I see, and hopefully she'll be able to share some explanation on how to actually tighten them all up and how to fix them. But otherwise, I will take you on that road when we come to it. But going back to the mildew, it's important to make sure that when you dry your dreadlocks, you really, really wring out as much water as you can. Sun dry, air dry, use a blow dryer if you can. Make them really dry every time you get them wet. It's a bit of a pain, I will admit, but that way your dreadlocks are not going to smell. So if you wash them at least every couple of days, at least once a week, like normal people wash their hair, and you just go through this extra care and attention, you can have dreadlocks that don't stink. And that's so important to me anyway, so, and probably anybody that spends time with you. So make sure your dreadlocks are clean. Whew, heating up a bit now from all this walking. Might take my jumper off and all this talking. There we go. So it's also bright, so sunnies go on. It's a big hill, but sun is coming out. It's starting to look like a nicer day. Next thing I wanted to talk to you about that I figured out as someone with dreadlocks is that you can't run your fingers through your hair. And seems obvious, but I didn't really think about it, and I was a big one to run my fingers through my hair habitually and not really think about it. So I've lost that now. Walking along a main road, talking to your phone, you get a lot of weird looks. Now, something else that isn't spoken about much when you have dreadlocks is something called dreadlock maturity. They take a while, I'll show you, to reach this sort of like dangly point, and you know, where all the dreadlocks can be easily folded around your finger and rolled around, and they're really flexible. It takes a long time to get to that point. For the first sort of even few years, they can be stiff and not hold together very well, not be very malleable. They end up sticking to each other and joining and making knots that you have to really rip your hair apart. It can be quite painful. So to get to this dreadlock maturity where they're all like really flexible, takes a long time. They don't tell you that. Hey, nearly at the car now. That's great news. Great, now I've made it to the car, I can explain to you my final thing that they don't tell you about having dreadlocks. Now, it's important to remember this one because this is the painful part, and it relates back to maintenance that we were talking about earlier, whereby getting all this done, when they maintain it, they get a crochet hook and basically pull all the loose hairs and everything tight as to your scalp, kind of like a cornrow or something similar. When you get braids, people will understand this. It's pulling on your hair, and then they lock it in place, so it just stays there locked, and all your hair is pulling really, really tightly. And it's often not all the hairs that are pulling that makes it painful. It's just the individual ones that are stuck, and they're just being really, really tight, and there's only one individual hair, and it's really, really painful. And it takes a long time, same as the maturity, to get a scalp that is okay with being tugged on a lot. So the maintenance can really hurt for the first few years. But all in all, I do not want to deter you from getting dreadlocks. Like I said, I absolutely love mine. I can't imagine cutting them off or seeing myself lose them. There are plenty of great things about having dreadlocks. I just wanted to outline a few things that people don't tell you, the things that you need to know when having dreadlocks, because it makes people make the decision and then cut them all off again and get sick of them. So you need to know what you're in for. It's a journey. These things live with you, they hold energy, and it's a journey having these things. So it's important to remember, look after them, and you'll have a great experience. Anyway, thanks guys for listening, and I will head off and continue off on my day, and I'll talk to you about something very soon in a new video. See you guys soon.